Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
We are just a little past the middle of Black History Month. So today we're going to talk about movies. And there are so many uh, movies about the Black experience, both here and abroad, that we wanted to just kind of highlight some of our favorites. Right now, one of my favorites is technically it's not a Black movie. It's Wicked. Note the glasses, like Cynthia Erivo wore in this classic telling of what happened before Oz. But because a Black woman was cast as Elphaba in this production, in this movie production, it really spoke to a lot of us, especially after the election, about the experiences of Black women and being asked to save the world. Now, it's funny because for a long time, a lot of our movies were about our pain, just our pain. There were all kinds of movies, from The Color Purple to, Sounder to anything having to do with slavery or what happened, pre-civil rights. And so a lot of people got the idea that that's pretty much what we were pain. And then we have people like Tyler Perry, who showed us how to laugh in his Madea movies. Now, some people don't like the Madea movies. They feel like it's a little bit, I don't know, caricaturish. And there she is. But a lot of us can laugh because we're not so worried about the white gaze and how we're perceived. And we can laugh at ourselves and how ridiculous some of our family situations are, whether it be, a house party or a funeral or a wedding, how some of us show up and show out and act out, So, we want to talk about some of those, and I want to start with someone, and then I want to bring my sisters in on one that I saw last night, and it's called Hard Truths. The A brilliant actress is named Marianne Jean Baptiste. She's British, I believe, and it's a Mike Lee film, and she speaks to a lot of the pain that women have that is unresolved, that we present our depression as anger sometimes. And it's told as a comedy drama, but there isn't a lot of comedy in watching this woman who is so much pain and so much anger. Now, it's in the movies, it's in the theaters, but it's hard to find. How I found this, and this is not a plug for Fandango, but if you have the app Fandango, you can rent it for $5.99 on your own television. And that's what's happening. There are also movies out there like 6888, also a Tyler Perry movie, not funny and amazingly great movie about Black women during World War II. So, sisters, we can talk all day, or I could talk all day about all the movies that are out there for us to see while we're minding our Black business this month. What are you all recommending?
Well, I have to say that there are quite a number of excellent shows that you can get. Like, I'm thinking about even the one that you just mentioned, Cheryl, about renting. Sometimes you can get them from the library. I know that there is one that came out last year by a Nigerian filmmaker. Her name is Tepetope Adebayi, and she did Altar of Hate. And it's one of those movies that is very serious, talks about it's well, it speaks to home. It speaks about the hypocrisy, the gossiping, the jealousy, and the hatred that comes in the Black church. I mean, it's in the white church too, but definitely it's in a place where it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be about love and caring for your neighbor and taking care of the oppressed. And sometimes people are so wrapped up in their own thing that they don't care about the poor or the oppressed. It's all about me, and it shows up and shows out, like Cheryl just said. Now,
Yeah.
the Kendrick brothers do a bunch of movies. One that spoke really to my heart was Overcomer. Now, they have done Courageous, which was all about these police officers and getting their acts together as far as being good fathers to their kids, even though they were police officers. And there's Fireproof, that's all about a bunch of firemen, kind of the same kind of theme. But Overcomer is this story of this young girl. She shoplifts, but she has other issues that are going on in her life. Her mother died young. Her grandmother is raising her. Her grandmother is angry because the little girl's father was like the one who got the mother onto drugs, and you know, and she ends up dying. And she doesn't get, and the grandmother tells the daughter that her father is dead. Well, the daughter has asthma, but she is a runner. This is why I like this movie, because she's a runner, and I used to be a runner. And it goes into this great drama of her dealing with her issues. This is one of those Priscilla Shirer movies. The Kendrick brothers use Priscilla Shirer a lot. She is a Tony Evans' daughter, and she's married with 3 kids, and she has this ministry where she goes all over, you know, the country, ministering to women and speaking about the traumas that they're dealing with in their lives. In this movie that she currently is in, let me see, it was called, I can't remember it now, but it just came out. Oh, it's The Forge. Duh, I suddenly remember. It's The Forge, and it just came out last year. I know it's sometimes these movies, they're really good, but they have a very short run. I just checked it out of the library. And in The Forge, Priscilla Shirer plays a single mom. I don't know the whole premise, but she's a single mom trying to get her high school senior to get his act together because he's acting all kinds of ways and I don't have to respect you. And it is how this Black woman uses her friends who work at a women's salon to really help support her as she's dealing with the craziness of her son. A lot of times, I really appreciate really good Black movies that have a message of hope and vigilance in bringing victory in people's lives. That's why I love Denzel Washington in every movie that man has ever been in. And my favorite, of course, is Remember the Titans. And this one happened during the time that we 3 sisters were in high school. This is going on in the South with the captain of the teams, and also as the new coach. He's a Black coach that has to pull together the players who have, you know, until this time, they're living in the segregated South. And he is pulling these guys together as a unit to show unity and to show what that is like on the team and supporting each other as young men. These kind of movies give a message of hope, of reconciliation, of change that is needed in our society. And it doesn't matter that the movie is old. It addresses the same kind of problems that we are dealing today. People not caring about each other, the division because of politics, the division because of social status. How do we bring about reconciliation with each other if we don't have a real message of hope, really learning how to work with each other in a way that has meaning and leaving a good legacy for our children. Another Denzel Washington movie I like is The Equalizer. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people that loves to see people get theirs in the movie. You know, you're the hero, you're mild mannered, and then people don't know that underneath that being mild mannered, you have this power that comes out and destroys the enemy. I like that kind of stuff. What about you, Naima?
Well, I must say, my taste in movies, even though I've seen some films that have, maybe been a little bit violent. I don't like violence. I really do prefer comedies, but a lot of the older films, I really enjoyed. Like, now I have watched a lot of the TV miniseries, and of course, we all know that um, Roots was one of those that um, was a very popular miniseries that
That
I
movie
watched.
changed our lives.
And that changed our lives. I mean, it changed what people actually knew and understood about the history, because people had been ashamed to even talk about slavery, and then understanding that there was something powerful that happened prior to slavery. A lot of times blacks didn't even know about that. So that was my first mini series. That it was really historic. Now, another one of my favorites, which
I
of
see
course,
you put it up there, Shaka Zulu.
yeah, looking back on it, it was it was very violent.
Not a
But
comedy.
it was not a comedy. It was another mini series. I loved Henry Sele as Shaka Zulu. The woman who actually played, his wife or whatever, who had his child, and he killed the child. It's horrible. But she came to our house when Zakia was very little, and she came to our house. She visited us. She happened to be in Chicago. She's from South Africa. She came to our house, played her guitar for us and everything. It was really nice. But she was just telling us a little bit of background about the story, and how he was just this regular soccer player that became, this famous movie star. And he was like, what? So he's a really humble person. But the film, it was very impactful, very dramatic. I watched it. It was another mini series. I think it was like 5-day mini series, told the whole history of South Africa. And you kind of understood why it's still sort of in a mess, because just the intensity of the rivalry and the infighting, the families and all that sort of thing. But I thought it was a very deep look at history, even though it was extremely violent. Not something I would probably watch today, but I was just fascinated with it at the time. So I like a lot of the old history movies. Now, the film that you mentioned that I haven't seen yet that I intend to see is 688. Everybody's talking about that. And I think that is a very powerful movie that does, of course, give a vision of women, just like the movie, what was that, Hidden Figures.
Yes.
That
Yes.
gave a different perspective of women and
based on a true story.
Based on a true story. So
Yes.
these kinds of things, and another warrior movie.
No, I like my warrior movies. I'm a Xena fan from way back, so I totally love The Woman King.
I did love The Woman King. I went
she was a real person,
and that was another one based on a true story. Of course, I truly love Viola Davis. That was a very powerful portrayal. And I went to see it with Zakia, and I'm so silly, I'm walking down the street, we were after the movie, and I'm doing that silly, I God, yeah. And Zakia's like, oh my, I can't take you nowhere,
not help ourselves.
it was
when I came
exciting
out of
to watch.
watching Wakanda, I was like, Wakanda forever.
I know. So I mean, these warrior movies, they kind of also they let you know that we were not docile people taking a lot of stuff. So because a lot of that, the image of us being these docile people, just kind of let yourself be abused and enslaved. We really need to undo that thought that this is who we were, because that produces a sort of feeling of kind of shame, and you don't realize it's there. But so in a way, it was good seeing the warrior films, even though I did a little bit of research. Every time I watch a historic film, I always do research. When I watched Shaka Zulu, I researched about South Africa. I learned the Zulu language. I mean, I was just all in it. Same thing with the Warrior King. I read about that whole kingdom and what was happening in terms of the enslavement and how slavery was, a business. And there were those who were participating in it and how they were thinking of, well, can we use some other products? So that historic economic struggle, I researched that. But I like films that are historic, and I don't like violence in warrior movies. I probably don't watch them anymore.
Many times already.
but I did enjoy those. Now, a movie that I enjoyed, and I flashed a bit, The Lion King, and they remade it as a film with I guess animatronics or whatever they use for that, which was a good remake of the animation. But I liked that film that came out, I think when Zakiya was like 5 or something. But I enjoyed it. And it had Black actors doing the voices, which was good.
Most of the voices. Yes.
Most of the voices were Black people, or that sort of thing, because it's supposed to be in Africa, so you kind of think, okay, something's in Africa, why you got a British voice?
They were using British actors.
Yeah, so at least they try to be somewhat authentic. So I did like that as a movie, because I like movies with a moral theme to it, where you're trying to teach something, and he was teaching his son about responsibility and who you are, and you come from a lineage where you are expected to rule and to be responsible for your kingdom, your people. They depend on you and all that kind of thing. So I like stories that have a moral. Now, you mentioned earlier Madea, and I love Tyler Perry.
I do.
And I think all of his films always have a message. People get obsessive about, man dressing like a woman. He has a whole history behind how he developed that character and how he made that work for him as a business. So I don't have a problem with that. And he's funny.
And it's about, it's like the women in his life that he grew up with that raised him.
And we relate to those characters because they are real. Even the things that some people may be upset at, some of the jokes that Madea will say, "Oh, Heller," and what? The way she presents a lot of the characters and the goofiness that's in the Black church, and she brings that stuff out. And if you deny that those things exist, then you're not being real. Because while it's fun, it is also, there's that serious side where you go, this has to stop. And I have to say, Madea has the best sight gags that I've ever seen in anything. I remember once she was getting after this child, she was going to give her a spanking, and she opened up this bag and had a handful of belts. I started laughing so much I started crying. I was like,
it's humorous. And humor actually takes a lot of intelligence, because you got to be able to take something that's common and get people to laugh at it, but then understand the point that you're making.
Yeah.
So, all of those movies do that.
Is that amid all of the things, and like I said, there's plenty of movies about pain, and 12 Years a Slave was an amazing movie.
Yes.
Because it showed it is finally address the brutality. It's not like you said, they're not just singing and happy picking cotton, that there was a lot of brutality. But a lot of these movies that are humorous they speak to our joy. You
They
know,
do. And you have to be able to laugh.
all of the things that are happening right now, we have to remember that joy in itself is part of the revolution. Is that you're not going to beat us down so much that all we can talk about is the pain and the suffering and the, oh, we did this and they did that to us. Yes, all those things happened, and yet you're still not going to take away our joy.
Still we rise.
And still we rise. And that's one of the best things about the movies that come with humor, is that we can laugh at it. We can laugh at us. We don't have to say, oh, white people gonna think we this. We don't care. We don't care. It's, it ain't about us performing for them. It is about us embracing all the silliness, and there's plenty of things that are online that show up, that are just for us, that show us how much we can laugh through the tears, the joy inside our tears, because that is part of the resistance. Joy is also part of the resistance. And I love these movies that are inspirational. 6888 is incredibly inspirational. It's on Netflix, people. Well, once again, I am not saying yes, you need to get streaming services. I got way too many. But
you gotta have time to read books.
We already did the books. We're also reading the books. But when there are things out there like 6888, you know what? Support it. Support it. There was a time like when Black Panther came out, and those are flights of fancy, and I wish it was a documentary, but maybe one day. But we need to also remember that if we don't go to these movies, if we don't support these movies, download them, buy them, rent them, whatever you have to do, they will not be made, because there's parts of Hollywood that still says, oh, people aren't going to watch this.
When people don't buy these movies,
people won't watch it. So when they say these things, they're telling us, and we spend a lot of Black dollars that are not in our own communities, and that's a whole nother conversation. So we need to use these Black dollars that we have and support our own people, support our filmmakers, support our artists, support our writers, because that is part of being us.
That is so important. And I remember there was a time when the first Black movies came out, and they called them Blaxploitation films, because they were, they were like low level dramas or detective goofy things. But Black movies have evolved. We've come up even since Raising in the Sun.
Raising in the Sun.
I do have to talk about my man Sidney Poitier, who's done the best works.
Always
so many movies.
Always
yes, he really had.
Even in a comedy, he always had his dignity. And
Uptown Saturday Night.
Yes.
Uptown Saturday Night, and what was some of the other ones that he did?
Let's Do It Again. Buck and the Preacher. Now that's my favorite. It was him
I love that movie. I checked it out in the library.
Yeah. And that was one of those historic, based on a historic period in time, right after Reconstruction, and the Blacks trying to leave the plantation and go out west, and the white landowners not wanting them to leave because they want them to force them to stay and work the land and all of that. And so, and how the Native Americans, kind of help them. So all of that it's exciting when you watch the drama of history and seeing it replayed in a story like that with excellent acting. So that's one of my favorites, Buck and the Preacher.
And I'm going to mention something that I refuse to see, anything by Quentin Tarantino. Like, I never saw Django, because we need to tell our own stories.
I saw Django, which I just saw it because Jamie
Foxx telling us, oh no, he's garbage. He's garbage. He just likes to use these things so he can use the N-word, really. So I'm not a big fan of stuff. Like I said, we have our own way. Black Klansman was another one. That was Denzel's son, John Washington. That was
I remember that, and I saw the movie before I knew that was his son. Yeah, because he didn't want to, push the fact that I'm Denzel's son, so he kind of made it on his own.
This man is an actor in his own right. He's very talented. It was a very good movie, also based on what happened. It was also a true story. We are the ones. We're the ones.
And the ones we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
I know y'all don't like me cursing, but we are those people. So we need to support our people. We need to go out and have fun and look up. And you know what? Go online and look for some of these titles and see how you can download them. A lot of them you can get on free TV, or like Barbara said, in the library, or like Naima says, go out and look for and research after this and say, well, what is the true story?
Yeah, what really happened?
It's kind of fun and it's uplifting. It's uplifting. Even the tough stories can be uplifting, because we know we have overcome. We will continue to overcome. And as we go through these dystopian days, we will remember that, we've survived and we've thrived, and we will survive and we will thrive. No matter what is going on out there, there's some of us, our DNA is made of much stronger stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It has to be, to have survived as much as we have overcome. Yeah. Oh, and I just thought of Fences. That was another.
That was a good Denzel Washington movie. I liked that one. I saw that on a plane. I think I was on an international flight and I saw that movie. Yeah, I was on my way to South Korea.
And some of these things, they don't have the best messages, and he's not always doing the best character, but he's doing a rich character, because we are not one-dimensional people. We are not all good or all bad.
I love that movie. That was good. Yeah. Him and Viola Davis, you get two of the best of actors and actresses.
Yeah,
that was a powerful movie, and I enjoyed that. So I think, and you think about the film industry, and I'm so grateful that Tyler Perry has founded Tyler Perry Studios with all of those, all of that space.
Giving jobs to many Black people.
Giving jobs to a lot of people in the industry. And so it's only going to get better. And like you said, Cheryl, we don't need to worry about whether other people approve or like what they see. It's about us. Do we enjoy telling our story? Do we enjoy laughing? Do we enjoy crying? Do we enjoy expressing who we are? And can we make a thriving industry out of our films? Yes, we can. So let's go to the movies, see our people, and enjoy the cinema. That's what it's here for.
Yes.
So we want to thank you all for being with us, and remember to like and subscribe us on our Facebook page, 3 Black Moms, and YouTube channel, 3 Black Moms, and join us every Sunday. We're here at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, and wherever you are in the world, you can see us online. Just figure out the time zone so that you can see us live, and feel free to leave your comments and we will gladly respond. So until next week, I'm Naima.
I'm Cheryl.
I'm Barbara. We are 3 Black Moms.
And we will see you next week. And hopefully we will see you at the movies. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black Moms.